Hello, this is Sandro Forte and welcome to my home. No, I'm joking. Today we're going to talk about service standards and in particular, what do you sell? Now, this is a question I ask a lot of financial professionals and often they don't know the answer. And when I talk about what do you sell, is it the lowest price? Is it the most convenient? Is it the widest choice? Is it the highest quality? Whatever it is you sell, and I'm not talking about products here, I'm talking about a concept. Once you've identified what it is you sell, be really consistent with it. Now, one thing that I knew when I started in this business a long time ago was that a lot of times people are a bit concerned about what they might get from a new professional, a new advisor in this particular case. And so in the same way that I've talked in the past about managing expectations by asking that killer question that we've talked about before, when it comes to building new customer relationships, they need to know what I stand for, what it is that I sell. Now, for me, I would say that when I started out in this business, I was young, I was inexperienced. It was kind of difficult for me to sell anything other than a long-term relationship. But I learned very quickly that the long-term nature of a relationship, particularly when it comes to financial planning, was the one that was most likely to lead to a positive outcome. And that ultimately was what my new prospective clients wanted. So what I did was I developed a service charter, one of the first in the UK, if not the first, to build a series of written promises, and I give them to all of my clients. One word of warning. I know it's very tempting to promise our new prospective clients the world because we want to impress them. We want to kind of make ourselves more sellable. But ultimately, if we make a promise that several years later, as the business grows, we've got more clients and less time, unfortunately, we start to break those promises and therefore trust is diminished. So what I did is I set out on a charter, a written document, and you can request a copy if you like, was to set out in a written document the promises that I knew I could make regardless of the size of my business. And it would be things as simple as how long it would take me to respond to an email correspondence, or how many times the phone would ring before somebody in my office answered the call. Very simple, basic principles, basic service standards, but set out in a document, because the one thing I know is that when we make a promise verbally, it's not nearly as important in the mind of a prospective client than when we write it down. So even something very simple, just setting out what you stand for, what you believe in, how you're going to look after the client, and those basic principles of that client relationship, write them down, put them in a folder, make it available to a client when you first meet them, and build on that relationship by sticking to some basic principles. We've talked before about those six, those principles in life and business, and one of them is consistency. Be consistent, engender trust, build great relationships.